My name is Ben Cohen. I'm 98 years of age. I was born in Glasgow in June 1915. Well, I was a replacement. My parents lost a child. They had lived in in a very poor part of the Gorbals, and a kettle spilt over from the grate, they had opened grates then, it spilt on it and the child died of burns. Gorbals was a collection of tenements. These were three-storey buildings of housing built on grey sandstone. Each floor had two flats, and there was a common door to these two flats. In the case of our family, there were 6 of us in 2 rooms and a kitchen. Our next door neighbour were even bigger. They had about 7 or 8 of a family, and things were very primitive in a way. There was only one lavatory for both families, and there was always trouble between the 2 families because the family next door, they weren't very clean and things, so it was pretty grim, really. There was no hot, for instance, there was no hot water in the kitchens, you know. If you wanted hot water, you had to heat the water on the grate. There was no central heating ring on that one. The life for children in the Gorbals was a street scene, and we played a game using a curious piece of wood, which was a wood about 3 inches long with sharpened points at the end. We'd have a bat, a wooden bat, and we would strike the edge of this piece of wood, and the wood would then fly into the air, and then you would run in a circle until the thing was recovered. It was like rounders. You would have people, you would have men selling things. Milk would be sold from a cart in the street. The milkman would come with a cart, and you'd buy milk from him from a jug. He had barrels of milk on the back, you see, and the coal man, he'd have a horse and cart with his coal on top, and he would have a cry shouting coal or something like that. And there was also another form of sale on the street was old clothes. Mm-hmm. And somebody would come with a hand cart and shout, "Clothes for old Anne," and we would then run to our parents and say, "Have we got any old hand or any clothes or thing?" And we would give it to this man, and he would give us perhaps a penny or 2. And the other thing in the street scene was we played as children on the pavement all the time, of course, and we would play. We'd play cards. I remember this. We played a game called Pontoon. It was like a gamble, and we played a game also gambling with secret cards called. It was called Brag. That's right. Mm-hmm. And we also did another gambling thing, pitch penny. We would stand in front of a wall, and we would throw pennies to the wall, and the one whose penny was nearest the wall, he would take the 5 and he would throw them up. And as when the guy did that, those that were heads he picked up, he pocketed it, and those who were tails were left for other people, other children too. It was a form of gambling, but it was only done with small sums of money, a halfpenny or a penny.
Yeah.
But I remember that was going on in the street.
Yeah.
Our street had a curious type of division. The bottom half of the street was mainly Roman Catholic, and there was a school, a Roman Catholic school there, and the top half of the street were mainly Jews and Gentiles of various types. And in the infants class, I clearly remember they sang a hymn, Jesus loved me, yes I know, because the Bible tells me so. Now, as a Jewish boy, I was terrified to say the word Jesus. And I can remember standing there as a little boy of 5 years of age saying, loves me, yes I know. And it was very fun. Anyway, from time to time, there would be a fight in the street between the children from the bottom invading the top of the street, attacking children there. And as a Jewish boy, you were in between. Now, when I was going to school, at probably the age of 6 or 7, if it was St. Patrick's Day, what would happen? The child, little ruffian, would come up to you and they said, are you a Billy or a Dan? And you had to work out, what was he? You see? And if you guessed wrong, he'd biff you. And I remember an Orange Day procession, and I went to see this, and they were all marching through the streets. And I remember clearly, leading this procession, there was a man who held up a large sword. It must have been about 10 feet sword, in his both hands, and he had blood on the sheath of the sword. And I remember seeing that. I was terrified and ran all the way home.